All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we're going to talk about a very interesting topic when it comes to spending and selling and things like that. Okay, now, and we're also going to be talking about one of my favorite stores and why do they get so many things so cheap? We're going to be talking about that. Okay, now your warm up picture is right here, all right? Now, the question is very simple. I'm just asking you this. Is, from what you see from your analysis of this picture, is this guy's business doing well or is it doing bad? So, is he doing really good or is he doing really bad? So, look at that chart. And from your prior knowledge and everything you know about the charts and stuff like that, what do you think? Okay. So write your response, pause the video, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. Now, like I said in class, the reason why I made that warm up the way it was because I want to see could you instantaneously see a graph and know is it good or bad? Does that the way it looks? Does that say things are going well, things are going bad, things are más o menos, more or less, good or bad, or just even? That's basically why I wanted to see. Now, today's lesson, we're going to talk about first thing, the price ceiling. Price ceiling is the maximum legal price that can be charged for a particular item. Okay. Now, sad to say, not everything has a price ceiling. There's a lot of things where they can, whoever the people who are making it, can bump up the price really high, as high as they want. And the thing is, depending on the item, some people will be like, hey, you know what? That price is way too high. I'm not going to pay for it. But then there are some items where it's like people need that to live. So a great example of this was, I believe it was like 12 years ago, 15 years ago. Um, this CEO lady made those EpiPens, which is needed for people who have allergic reactions to things. They need that to stay alive. And this lady basically charged people like $8,000, $10,000. It was like a ridiculous amount for one pen. And people are like, people could die if they don't got this. And she was like, well, that's them, because she realized, hey, I need to make this company money. And there's no cap on, there's no ceiling on how much I could charge for these pens. There's no regulations and things like that. So she raised up the price and she did get in trouble for that stuff, things like that. So like rent, that's one of the things that does have a price ceiling. Okay. Here's the thing. I know some people said in class too, well, my parents' rent goes up, and things like that. It's like, yeah, the landlords can raise it up like every year, every 2 years, something like that. But the thing is, even that has a cap. Like you can't, they can only raise it up like so many hundreds of dollars or whatever it may be. Um, but they can't raise it like $3,000. No, they can't do that. Okay. Now it says here the authorities have the power to set a maximum price. Now, what's authority? Who's authority? Basically, it's like Congress and governors and people like that. They are the ones who set the cap. Okay. Now the thing is, uh, just like some students in the past, some students this past couple days were saying something to the effect of like, "Well, rant, why don't they just like lower the price so that that way we won't have like homeless people and things like that." Well, here's the thing: if the price goes really, really low, those guys might be like, "Well, you know what? I'm not going to be making any money, having this apartments as that cheap." So what they could do is like say, you know what, we're going to evict those people who are in there and we're going to make those homes basically make them into like storage or a condo or make turn them into offices, you know so and then now you got even more homeless people. So that's why they're trying to find where it's good for the homeowners, the people who own the property, and good for the renters. So it's like a happy medium. Okay. Now, the opposite of a ceiling is a floor, right? Well, that's the next thing in economics. The lowest legal price It's a price floor. That's how the smallest that um, you can legally get paid for goods or services. Okay, so minimum wage is a great example. All right, that's like it's like, hey, you got to pay people at least this much. If you want to pay them higher, awesome. But if this is a bottom of the barrel where you can say, oh, we're going to hire you, and this is how much we're going to pay you. Okay. For those of you guys who have jobs, you know about that kind of stuff, and and sometimes you get raises and things like that. Okay. Um, Now, if you look at this chart here, this has been the minimum wage since the 1979 up until 2022. Um, and you can see it's gone up, considerably. But also the price of living, the price of items has gone up. And I said it in class, people say all the time, oh, when I was a kid, I worked for $5 an hour and, I was able to got to get a car and live on my own and la la la. It's like, yeah, that's great. But the thing is, at the same time, the cost of living was way down. The price of items was way down. So you could work, good, decent, same hours as people nowadays, and you could pay your bills and all that stuff and still have a lot of money left over. That way, hey, you saved up, and you bought a home. Now the thing is, the price of living is a little bit higher than what people are getting paid. So people can work the same hours, 40 hours a week and stuff like that, and still not make it enough to where they can pay off all their bills. They have to sometimes wait and, like, okay, I'll pay off all these bills, and, I'll wait on this bill because I need to get paid another 2 weeks or so to pay that one. So yeah, it's a struggle. So when people say that kind of stuff, it upsets me because they're not really thinking about that kind of stuff. They're not considering that. They're just seeing it as, oh, well, I did it, you can do it. You're just being lazy or whatever. It's not the case. Okay. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love the dollar store. That's like one of my favorite stores to go to. And why are those things so cheap compared to other places? Because of a thing called surplus. Okay, a surplus is when a quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded, meaning a company basically makes a ton of a product, a bunch of it, and the demand for it, the number of people who want that item, it's really low. So let's just say this coming Super Bowl, Doritos makes an ad saying we're gonna make some pickled juice, bean juice, rotten tomato flavored chips, and they make a ton of these chips. Are people gonna eat those chips? You know, and a lot of people said in class, no, but there are gonna be some people who are gonna buy it. Yeah, they're probably gonna sell maybe a couple thousand bags, but if they made a like millions and millions of bags of it, and only like a couple thousand people are going to buy it, you know, what are they going to do with all the rest of those chips? That's where companies, like that, go to places like Walmart, Target, some of that, try to sell to them. And they only buy a handful. Then they go to stores like Dollar Store, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and they tell them, hey, we'll sell you all this stuff basically dirt cheap, because they want to at least make some money off of it, some money back, you know. So that's why if you go to stores like, Dollar Store, and you get some like shampoo or something, and you go to Walmart, and it's, like 50 cents cheaper there than at Walmart. That's why. Yeah, because like Walmart, Target, those stores say we'll buy, you know, 10,000 units of it. You know, these guys still have like another million left. So they'll go to those dollar stores and say, hey, we'll sell you the rest of this dirt cheap. Because again, they want to make some money at least. Okay. So that's when there's a surplus. The company makes a lot of a product, and not many people want it. Now, the opposite effect is called a shortage. when the demand for something is huge, monstrous, but the quantity, the amount that the company makes is very small. Um, so I give the great example um, to you guys about, if you remember back in 2020 during the COVID time, the PlayStation 5 came out, and how everybody wanted it, but they couldn't make it because, again, we were in the middle of a pandemic. They only made a certain amount of number. People were, using bots to buy them, things like that. If you remember that, then you remember a shortage that we had. Now, if you were like, I don't really remember that, as of right now, January 11th, 2024, think about this. Those Stanley Cups, the Valentine's Day one that people are going crazy over, that's a shortage. Because if there was a surplus, then everybody who wanted one could get one. But no, right? There's only a limited amount at certain stores, things like that. People are going crazy over them. And I'm sure, like some students said in class, oh, yeah, I saw on social media that somebody's selling them for like $300, $500. Yeah. Why are they selling it for so high? Because again, there's a short amount of them that are available so far, and people want them. So, hey, if you want it so bad, the price is going to be up here. Okay. That happens quite a bit, you know. Um, so that's what a shortage is. Now, an equilibrium is an interesting thing. So if you look at that graph where it's you see the S and you see the D right there, the line, um, the demand and the supply, where they meet, where they cross, that's known as the equilibrium price. This is basically the perfect point, the happy medium, where uh, the price is good for people and the amount that the companies can make is perfect. Okay. And thing is, this very rarely happens in real life where a company makes the exact number of a product for the exact number of people who want it. It very rarely happens. It's like shooting an arrow through a tornado and a winter storm and hitting the bullseye. You know, is it going to happen? It could happen, but the odds of it are very rare. Extremely rare. Okay, but um, it can happen. But a lot of times, a company will either make too much or too little of a product. Okay, and I said this. Is what I said too in the class. If you know somebody who like makes T-shirts or personalizes like cups and things like that, you'll know that they don't just keep making cups and cups and cups or shirts and things like that. They don't just make a ton of it. They do is custom orders. Like, if you want one, let me know. How many do you need? I'll make that many. They want to make sure it's exact because they don't want to waste money and waste product on something nobody's going to buy. That's why they do those custom orders. That's why their prices sometimes are a little bit higher, because they're not selling shirts every day. They're not selling those mugs and things like that every day. So they got to make up for those that downtime. You know, so that's why a lot of times those prices are a little bit higher. All right. So if you remember from this lesson, I told you a price ceiling is the maximum amount item can be charged. So what I want you to do is tell me, what is one item that you could think of where you're like, you know what, the price is getting way too high. They should put a cap on that price, for this item. Okay. Now I had a lot of students tell me in class, oh man, yeah, there's a lot of things that are too expensive that they should like put a cap on the price. Well, great. If you could think of a bunch of items, all I'm asking is for one. Okay. So tell me what that one item is and why do you think it should be capped? Why do you think it's like, yeah, you know what? They should put a limit on that price. That can't go any higher. Okay. Now, here's the thing, too. This is how I'll know, too, if you actually are listening to this part or you just fast forward, fast forward. It tells you at the last part what should be the maximum price. I don't want you to do that. Okay. Um, just ignore that last part of what's the exact price, the maximum price. Don't answer that. Okay. Um, so just again, tell me the item and uh, why do you think that should, of all the items, that should be capped, in price. Okay. Don't tell me the price where it should be. Okay. I don't. We'll just get rid of that. That again, like I said, that let me know if you're actually listening to this video or are you just skipping. Okay. So with that being said, guys, hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. So with that being said, take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. All right.